Suraj নমস্কাৰ জনাইছো আপোনাক আৰু ৱেলকাম টু দ্য শ্ব' বহুত বহুত ধন্যবাদ আজি আমাক আপোনাৰ সময় দিয়াৰ বাবে
Thank you so much, Diganta. Aru khub bhal lagise. Yeah, this was a long time in the planning, wasn't it?
ইট ৱাজ এ লং টাইম আজি প্ৰায় 3 মাহ মানৰ পৰা আমি প্লেনিং কৰি আছিলো সময় সুবিধাবোৰ মিলিয়া নাছিলে বাট গ্লেড ফাইনেলি উই আৰ ডুইং ইট
The stars have aligned. Yeah.
Brilliant. So, সুৰজ ঘৰ ডিব্ৰুগড় বৰ্তমান আপুনি চেটত আপুনি থাকে এটা সুদীৰ্ঘ যাত্ৰা আপোনাৰ ডিব্ৰুগড়ৰ পৰা ইউনাইটেড কিংডমলৈকে আপুনি ইউকেলে কেতিয়া আহিছিলে
ইউকেলে চন 2000 আহিছিলো মই 2000 মেত আহিছো আজি 26 বছৰ হ'ল 26 বছৰ হ'বলৈ হৈছে আৰু এই মে 5 তাৰিখ নে তেনেকুৱা মে 1st উইকত মই লেণ্ড কৰিছো so it's been 26 years yeah
Absolutely.
It's been a long time.
and the main focus or the main thought behind creating this series was absolutely this jot ami etu bisariছিলো যে অসমৰ পৰা আজি 25 বছৰ 20-25 বছৰ আগৰ পৰা যিসকলে এনেকে ওলাই আহিছে তেওঁলোকৰ যিটো জাৰ্নি তেওঁলোকৰ যিটো যাত্ৰা ডেফিনেটলি it always involves up and downs বহুতখিনি থাকে challenges থাকে সেইখিনি আমি আমাৰ দৰ্শক আমাৰ অডিয়েন্সৰ আগত দাঙি ধৰিবলৈ এটা চেষ্টা আৰু মেইন বটম লাইনটো এইটোৱেই যে এই যিটো যাত্ৰা এইটো যিটো আপোনালোকৰ এটা সুদীৰ্ঘ যাত্ৰা তাৰ পৰা আমাৰ অডিয়েন্সে হয়তো তেওঁলোকৰ নিজৰ জীৱন অকমান পৰিৱৰ্তন কৰিবলৈ হ'লেও অকমান হ'লেও তাৰ পৰা এজ আই কল ইট টিপছে হওক বা অকমান হ'লেও ইনস্পিৰেশ্যন পাব that's the thought behind creating this series.
Nice. I think I've watched a couple of the interviews so far. Khub bhal. I think what is the exciting part is our journey to belag experience is different, journey path to different hoy. Aru kiba noy kiba to hikibologia thake. So our life journey. So I think it's exciting. I'm sure people will get a lot of value out of it, and hopefully, etu pura kiba ta hoitu pabor.
Right. No, absolutely. So, Suraj মই আপোনাক ভালকৈ চিনি পাওঁ, but for our audience, আপুনি অকমান আপোনাৰ নিজৰ পৰিচয়টো দিব নেকি নিজৰ ইন্ট্ৰডাকশনটো?
পৰিচয় that's a very tough question actually. In terms of মই ইয়াতে মই তাত ডিব্ৰুগড় মেডিকেল গ্ৰেজুৱেশ্যন কৰিলোঁ ডিব্ৰুগড়তে ডাঙৰ দীঘল হোৱা ডন বস্কো স্কুলত ডিব্ৰুগড় তাৰপৰা মেট্ৰিক কৰি কানৈ কলেজ দেন আছাম মেডিকেল কলেজ তাতে মই ইণ্টাৰ্ণশ্বিপলৈকে তাতে আছিলোঁ তাৰপিছত 3 বছৰমান মই নিউ দিল্লীত চাকৰি কৰিলোঁ দিল্লীত আছিলোঁ জুনিয়ৰ ডক্টৰ হিচাপে তাৰপিছতে ইয়ালৈ অহা হ'ল ইয়াতে পৰীক্ষা চৰীক্ষা দি চ' মোৰ মেইন অকুপেশ্যন ইজ মেডিচিন মই চাইকিয়াট্ৰিষ্ট ইয়াতে চাইকিয়াট্ৰি প্ৰেক্টিছ কৰোঁ যদিও মই ইয়াতে আহোঁতে এইটো একো ইণ্টেনশ্যন নাছিলে মোৰ একচুৱেলি মই ইয়াতে চাৰ্জন হ'বলৈ আহিছিলোঁ তেনেকৈ আহি মানুহৰ কেনেকৈ আৰু জাৰ্ণি ক'ত নহয় কি লাগি যায় হুইচ ইজ ভেৰি ইণ্টাৰেষ্টিং আৰু এই চাইকিয়াট্ৰি মই পঢ়িলোঁ ইয়াতে ট্ৰেইন কৰিলোঁ হায়াৰ ট্ৰেইনিং কৰিলোঁ আৰু সেয়াই আৰু মোৰ ফেমিলি অফ 4 + 2 dogs মোৰ দুজনী ডাঙৰ ছোৱালী এতিয়া 20 বছৰ আৰু 17 বছৰ মোৰ ৱাইফো তাইও চাইকিয়াট্ৰিষ্ট আমি একেলগেও কাম কৰোঁ উই হেভ এ স্মল বিজনেছ এজ ৱেল অন দ্য ছাইড আৰু সেয়াই এনেইটো বেকগ্ৰাউণ্ড ডিব্ৰুগড় মা দেউতা অৰিজিনেলি শিৱসাগৰৰ আমগুৰি নামৰ জেগাখনৰ আৰু মোৰ ক'বলৈ আমাৰ ফেমিলিত মোৰ সৰু ভাইটি এজন আছে তেওঁ থাকে ডিব্ৰুগড় তেওঁৰ ফেমিলি মোতকৈ 4 বছৰ সৰু আৰু সেয়াই তেনেকৈ আৰু থুলমূলকৈ।
Okay, বঢ়িয়া। আহ, আমি অকমান আপোনাৰ সৰু কাললৈ যাওঁ নেকি? অকমান how has been your childhood when you know remember your childhood? যেতিয়া ধৰক আপোনাৰ when you close your eyes and think of your childhood, what is the first thought or the first thing, a scene that comes to your mind?
Yeah, childhood, I had a very blessed childhood. ক'ব লাগিব মানে although in terms of material things ক'বলৈ গ'লে তেনেকুৱা আমি from a very humble kind of lower middle class background. মোৰ দেউতা ৰেলৱেত কাম কৰিছিলে, মা টিচাৰ আছিলে। আমি ভাইটি মই সৰু থাকোঁতেই আৰু আমি চাগে প্ৰাইমেৰী স্কুলতে আছিলোঁ নেকি, মায়ে তেতিয়া টিচিং ষ্টপ কৰি she came back to the home for a full parenting role. All I remember is there was a lot of love. There was a lot of love, morom, আৰু মাহঁত they were very hands-on parents বুলি ক'ব লাগিব। মানে এতিয়া মনত আছে সদায় স্কুলৰ পৰা অহাৰ পিছত মানে দেউতাৰ মানে এতিয়া I struggle to do that with my kids. দেউতা আমাৰ লগত বহিব একেলগে কি হোমৱৰ্ক আছে কি নাই, he would spend time with us, really engaging in our subjects, কি পঢ়িলোঁ কি নাই, সেইবোৰ খুব মানে হেৰি আছিলে, ইণ্টাৰেষ্ট লৈছিলে। তো I think I vividly recall some of that experience. আৰু we grew up in a very close-knit community. ডিব্ৰুগড়ত সৰু কালৰ মানে ৰেলৱে কলনীত আছিলোঁ, নালিয়াপুল বুলি জেগা এটাত। Very safe, happy, joyful, playful childhood. আগৰ দিনৰ আমাৰ টাইমত হেৰি চেৰি নাছিলে, একো টিভিও নাছিলে তেতিয়া। So we led a very outdoorsy life, playing until it got dark. And your parents had to call you to come back home and so on. Godly all Korea. So খুব happy childhood, blessed, had a lot of opportunities. Parents, I think I remember they made a lot of sacrifices for us, for both my brother and I. And I was lucky to have a good set of friends as well, I would say. A very good set of friends, which made school life quite enjoyable, interesting. I was blessed to go to a good school as well, which is again probably a miracle how my parents got the idea to send me to the school I went to. And I just remember the good feelings, good experience at home, and the same at school as well overall. So I've got very good vibes about my early childhood. আৰু মোৰ হেৰিও আছিলে বহুত for a big part of my life. There was the presence of my paternal grandmother, মোৰ আইতা আছিলে। তো আইতা, she really nurtured us when we were very young. So Aita presence to it are very, very special in our lives. I think, overall very, very happy.
Perfect. No, I think সেই দিনবোৰ খুব ধুনীয়া দিন বুলি যদি ক'ব পাৰোঁ, খুবেই pure form of life আছিলে আমাৰ সেই দিনকেইটা। Absolutely.
Yes.
More অকমান যদি if I can switch the gear and মই সদায় খুব কিউৰিয়াছ হয়, back in those days যেতিয়া আমাৰ অসম, তেতিয়া হয়তো most probably আপোনাৰ সেইটো সময়ত আপোনাৰ স্কুলিং সময়ত ইণ্টাৰনেট টো অসমত যোৱা নাই সেইটো সময়ত গৈ পোৱাই নাই আপুনি এইটো ক'লে টিভিও নাছিলে হয়তো so how did you look out পৃথিৱীখনলৈ আপুনি কেনেকৈ চাইছিলে in terms of নিউজ হওক বা পৃথিৱীখনক আপুনি কেনেকৈ চাইছিলে কেৰিয়াৰ ফ্ৰণ্টৰ পৰাই হওক বা জীৱন দৰ্শনৰ ফালৰ পৰাই হওক since আপুনি psychiatrist হয় so I would love to understand that aspect
yeah I mean TV অহা আমাৰ প্ৰথম black and white TV কেতিয়া আহিছিলে মই চাগে ক্লাছ 7 মানত আছিলোঁ চাগে in the neighborhood we could see that some people have got these very fancy gadgets with very high antennas sorry yes I can vividly remember সেইটো টাইমতে আছিলে চাগে মই ক্লাছ 7 মানত আৰু তাৰ আগত I was a voracious reader so I used to love reading স্কুলত library মানে they had a well stocked library asile fiction I love fiction reading fiction and that probably was the main gateway to kind of imagining other possibilities in life really hey to eta kom boyote yeah so I attribute that aru ta kobole gole music was a big part of my life early on as well had listened to all sorts of music Assamese pra Hindi Bengali in fact the community I grew up in had more Bengali people than Assamese there I had more Bengali friends so I used to speak very fluent Bengali etiao paru Bengali kobole to hey tenokwa সেইবোৰৰ মানে ইনফ্লুয়েন্স আছিলে so and I'm also thinking so I would say I was quite a daydreamer nisina swabhav eta asile mor I would talk less I was very introverted early on in my life I'd talk less but there'd be things would be going on in my mind all the time right so a lot of things playing I'm imagining things in a very imaginative mind back then would try to I would say people thought that I would become an engineer when I grew up because I used to love I had an inquisitive mind. There's a curiosity about, okay, what made things work? So if I saw something, I wanted to break it apart just to say, okay, how does this thing, really fit together and, what makes it work? So I had to understand that. I'd be very restless. So, I used to get, parents used to buy us toys and stuff. And so if I got a mechanical toy, just sabidi kiba koribo lage bole tetia to tenokwa bostu asile মই মানে খুলি চুলি কি আছে এটা কেনেকৈ হয় তাৰপিছত most of the time I wouldn't be able to put it back again but the curiosity got the better of me so I was less interested in playing it as a toy but more I wanted to understand the mechanics of it so I'd say always curious I would really find myself being able to explore new worlds within books, mainly fiction. I still read a lot of fiction. More than ভাল friend. His dad was an avid reader, and he'd have his own collection as well. So I used to love going to his house and borrow books from his dad's library. পঢ়িম আকৌ এসপ্তাহমান পঢ়ি আকৌ দুখন কিতাপ আনিম ঘূৰাই দিম আকৌ পঢ়িম আকৌ দুখন কিতাপ আনিম I think I had so much exposure that was in a very sleepy little town called Dibrugarh back then Dibrugarh is a big almost a city now সেইটো সময়ত বিৰাট মানে হেৰি আৰু there was no as you said internet to nasile internet to nai first introduction to computer was again we were in high school I think 7-8 probably that's that was our first experience with any computers, my PCs. Internet was, in 2019, 98, 99, or I think first I had a Hotmail
Yeah.
email account or
Yeah.
something.
Thanks to Sabir Bhatia.
Exactly, thanks to Sabir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I answer your question? Kiva aru kiva asile ni?
No, no, absolutely. I mean, I think you have touched very
Yeah.
nicely on those aspects. Exactly. So let's try to understand. With all of these challenges, right? Back in those days, in
Yeah.
2000, you moved to UK to
Yes.
England. Pretty sure এতিয়া বহুত ইনফৰমেশ্যন ইণ্টাৰনেটত পোৱা যায় কিদৰে আপুনি আহিব ইউকেত ক'ত থাকিব কেনেকৈ থাকিব কি খাব কি ল'ব এভৰিথিং গোটেইখিনি আছে but back in those days early in the 2000 era how did you adjust more from and how has been your emotional journey coming
Yeah.
out অসমৰ পৰা বাহিৰলৈ আহি
অসমৰ পৰা বাহিৰ গুড কুৱেশ্যন একো তেনেকৈ আইডিয়া নাছিলে মোৰ ইয়াত how the British society is, all my idea was kind of based on my reading and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have anyone go back from here and tell me, oh, ইয়াত এনেকুৱা তুমি এনেকৈ প্ৰিপেয়াৰ কৰিব লাগিব এনেকুৱা সেইবোৰ একো নাছিলে মই মোৰ ধান্দা মেইনলি প্ৰথমতে আৰু ইয়াতো অহা প্লেনো নাছিলে দিল্লীত মানে I met some people and some people mentored me. I was lucky to be within that circle where I saw that they created that possibility for me, for which I am grateful. I would say it was a shock. It was a shock, although I came from, as I said, more to fiction poha. Yeah, I knew about things that were in the books, right? Or English literature poha. So yeah, okay. The England or the Britain I had in my head was probably from a different era. And I find that still with some people back home now as well. They have got this vision of Britain being, what was in the books at school and so on. But yeah, things have moved on. Things have moved on so much. So I used to think, hitways and hey picture to ways and yet exactly I'll be at home because I know it so well, in the books. But yeah, there was a shock waiting for me in terms of, not only language, culture, their behavior, etiquette, work culture, culture in the workplace. I think that was really important. And of course, being so far away from family for the first time, I suppose that was and friends. Because it was the first time I felt like, okay, I am away from my usual circle of friends.
Right.
I have ventured out on my own, and this feels scary. What do I do? And that kind of feeling, right? To be check right or left, then is this a right decision or not?
Yeah.
Because you whatever you're deciding like, okay, I cannot ask my parents because they have no context about this. I can't ask my friends because they all look as India. So yeah, there are so many experiences along those lines, and I think that it was important that I went through those because that makes you who you are at a different time in your life. Yeah, so I would say I would say I'm 26 years on. I'm still adapting to this culture. I'm still adapting. I'm still learning, and you still feel, although I'm a British citizen, you still feel like, okay, I've got so much to learn about the place I live in, the place I call home now. It's a very strange feeling. ইণ্ডিয়া গ'লেতো তেনেকৈ আমি নাভাবোঁ ধৰা অসমতো নাভাবিছিলোঁ যে মই কিবা কিবি শিকি আছোঁ ইয়াতে বোলে নাই so kind of that feel is in your system. It's so embedded within you.
Exactly.
Yet obviously, I think it keeps on seeping in you and within, and it keeps something. There's always something more to experience, to see, to learn.
Right. So in the last, in the last 26 years, last 26 বছৰ যিটো আপোনাৰ journey ইয়াতে ব্ৰিটেইনত, like was there a moment when you thought maybe it's you might have questioned your own abilities, your own skill sets, সেই ধৰণৰ thoughts আহিছিলে নেকি কেতিয়াবা?
বহুত বাৰ definitely. I still doubt myself sometimes. Early on, there were so many reasons to be doubtful at every turn, really.
Mm-hmm.
Career-wise, social life-wise, within and outside of work. In the workplace, there's so many moments you feel like, I felt almost like I'd come from a different planet and kind of landed in the healthcare system here, and I had so much. They were speaking a different language, and people of my generation, more level of thoka, ekelage internship kori oha, তেওঁলোকে এটা বেলেগ লেভেলত কাম কৰি আছে, মই এটা মোৰ ভাৱধাৰাটো বেলেগ এটা লেভেলত, it was stuck at a different level, so I had to learn fast. So otherwise you get left behind. এনেকুৱা টাইপৰ লাগে যে আৰু এনেকুৱাও আছিলে আমাৰ সময়ত যেতিয়া আহিছিলোঁ in terms of job opportunities and so on, you have to be, you cannot be as good as the native person here in terms of putting yourself putting yourself forward for a job opening, for example. I mean, to me, equal hole probably you won't get the job. So you had to somehow have an edge. So where do you find that edge? So you had to kind of learn all those things, right? Can I get more edge to quote us? Say, okay, they have got 1, 2, 3 A B C D. Okay, they are good at these things. Okay, can I be good at the other things they are kind of not good at? And you kind of learn those things. So you're constantly, there were doubts. I think the doubts led to some things I didn't try out because of fear of failure, perhaps. At the time, all of immature asilo, ignorant asilo hetu moment. Risk ল'ব মানে অলপ সংকোচ কৰিছিলোঁ সেইটো সময়ত. But then again, I took on some of those anxieties as challenges, and then you say, okay, it's do or die. You have to work through this. নহ'লে আকৌ ঘূৰি যাব লাগিব ধৰা. So I mean, the lots of failures. I think lots of situations where I would say they really tested me. Sometimes you get to the point of like, okay, why am I here? Why did I choose this path? And so on. Probably there was an easier route in life. Then you have all those questions in your mind. But and I believe everyone goes through that.
Absolutely.
My journey is kind of not unique in any way, that way. But I think that's the reality, isn't it?
So, I mean, that takes me to the next point. Jyot, I would love to understand. Apni MBBS Koryuthi, you took up psychiatry. The study of human mind, if that's the way of putting it.
Sure.
Instead of going into more, different specialty or more technical study, why did you choose human psychology?
Human psychiatry, I always found it fascinating. At our whole some of the early reading I was doing as a school student, that kind of seeded this idea that, okay, there is this thing called, study of the human mind that really sounds mysterious, and I got very curious about it.
Yeah.
So I was only kind of, but I had no inkling of that I was going to study psychiatry when I was going through medical school. Or medical college থাকোতে তেনেকুৱা একো হেৰি নাছিলে. Only one experience I remember vividly is আমাৰ তাতে, I think it was during internship or final year, we have probably, I think it was like a month-long placement, and a psychiatric placement এটা হৈছিলে. I think it was during internship, possibly.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that placement. And I can't put a finger on why I did. It must have been about the people, maybe in the department I came into contact with. And I found, maybe the conversations I was having with my supervisors then, to department Sar Baido, then Asile, I remember I really had a good time with them. I learned new things as well. And I enjoyed that, and I sort of carried that good feeling with me. I came out of Assam Medical College stuff. So Dibrugarh, was Delhi. I wanted to. Main idea in the back of my mind was, okay, I'd fancy having a go at surgery as a career choice. And I thought I was pretty good with, dexterity, my finger dexterity and all of that. And I'll give it a try. So Delhi, I had experience with intensive care korilu, ebar neurology placement eta korilu, neurosurgery korilu. And but yeah, still I wasn't really clear in a hand. There was nothing that pulled me, and I did all of those things. I enjoyed them, but my heart was not kind of screaming for, okay, yes, I want to do this, I want to do that. So I came with that sort of in undecided sense of what I might do to England. So you could say I was very open-minded. I thought I let me test things out in England, and let me first clear the licensing exam, plab বুলি কয়, সেইটো দিলো. Once it happened, I landed here, and I said, okay, let me figure out. So I'm প্ৰথমতে surgical subject এটাতে join কৰিছিলো, as that was my kind of first job really in Northwest England. So it was only for about 4 months before I got my proper training job, and proper training job was in psychiatry. Right. So that I decided to apply for a psychiatry training job because I got very disillusioned with the surgical job I was doing. I was doing neurosurgery or something. I didn't enjoy it. I thought, this is a lot of repetition, kiba kibi tenekwa. I thought, aru mor mane kiba eta hospital life wasn't appealing to me that much. I was craving good conversations with people. I was craving, more humanly contact with people, not clinical contact, more of that, normal human day-to-day kind of mundane contact. And something inside me, woke up and said, okay, you've always had this idea in the back of your mind, and you had this good experience when you did your psychiatry, placement in AMC, Dibrugarh. I said, yeah, what have I got to lose? Let's try it. Alop mane teneke researches korilu. And a few things inspired me as well, and some of the books I was reading then around psychology, psychiatry. Kind of all roads started pointing to that end, really. Teneke apply kora hol. Aru Yeah, and I got my first job role in training role in a place called Devon, Southwest England. One a beautiful jaga, on a coastal Atlantic coastline, Devon. I had come down from near Liverpool, drive down for my interview, and I said, oh, "Wow, I love this jaga." I always love the sea because
Yeah.
you are so far away from the sea, right?
Right.
When I first saw the sea in Mumbai, it's like, oh, or Goa. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I can really fancy, living close to the sea. So again, those things, some of those things get planted somewhere in your mind or in your being, and they come to really wake you up when at certain moments in your life and say, okay, remember you had that experience. And
Yeah.
um, so that's how I came to choose psychiatry, really, because I really মানে hand on heart মই মানে ভিতৰ I didn't have that internal drive
Mhm.
to do anything else. Nothing was really exciting me. Nothing was,
Mhm.
rocking my boat. And psychiatry did, because I saw new possibility for it.
Yeah.
When I made the choice, and I thought, oh, this is something completely different from all the things I have done.
Yeah.
I can reinvent myself. I can do things on my own. I don't have to spend, all the daylight hours within, uh, inside a operating theater or something,
Right.
and I don't have to keep on doing the same things, because every single person is different. So
Exactly. Exactly. So,
yeah,
Apuni, you combine medical psychiatry with more in the lines of holistic care, spirituality, coaching as well. How does that, সেইটো কি ধৰণে how does it turn out to be in আপোনাৰ যিটো practice হয়?
yeah, I mean, আমি actually হেৰি মানে এনেইতো formally clinical training wise, I became a psychiatrist. I
Mhm.
became a member of the Royal College of Psychiatrists in London. So once those things were out of the way, you've got a professional credentials. Then now you can practice as a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
But then the challenge was, at the same time as this was happening, my journey in psychiatry was happening. I was also seeing, because I told you, the curiosity in me kind of led me to find things within the subject that wasn't sitting easy with me. So I got dissatisfied with a few ways and approaches within psychiatry,
Mhm.
because I was seeing that, okay, it's made out to be a great subject, great discipline, great way of helping people if you do it the right way. And I
Yeah.
felt like there were so many things that needed to be optimized within psychiatry. Um, and that curiosity kind of led me to really look for the problems within psychiatry itself, and say, okay, ক'ত কি actually ভালকে কৰিব পৰা নাই psychiatry এতিয়াও মই I've read all the books, I've given the exams,
Mhm.
I'm a member, but I still feel sort of helpless at not really being able to um, give sustainable health, mental health back to people. So some people were, really repeatedly showing up at your door, and they never you psychiatry মানে problem to আমি experience most commonly within secondary care, mental health. Thought you'll see that the same group of people keep showing up in your clinic. And then I was really asking the question, okay, I've treated them with medication, they've got psychotherapy, they've got this and that. Why haven't they sort of gone away and lived a really, why haven't their lives changed and transformed? What is going on here? Are we actually, instead of helping them, are we creating kind of bigger problem for them, or in terms of dependency on the service and so on, in the wrong, or are we, helping them in the wrong way? তেওঁলোকৰ লাইফটো একচুৱেলি মিনিংফুলি একো চেঞ্জ হোৱা নাই, তেওঁলোক still caught up in that same cycle. So I think that led me to explore things outside which were sitting outside psychiatry, like even aspects of psychology we used to sit outside traditional psychiatry. And the way we landed up discovering coaching was, first discovery was learning the impact of something called neuro-linguistic programming, NLP বুলি কৈছিল আগতে। তেতিয়া NLP is probably one of the very, very early approaches that gave birth to kind of Asi modern psychiatrism, to who is probably rooted in NLP and hypnosis and all of that. So NLP was I found it very fascinating. I said, okay, wow, this is possible, and this can bring about some transformation in my patients and so on. I mean, I'm just it's a long story. Then I also got really deeply impacted by discovering the spiritual essence of life itself, about our own identities. Where do we come from? Amar asal astitto to ki? What is this thing called the self? How do we experience life? How do you experience reality, and so on? So once I discovered all of that and started applying in my life, I said, wow, I can see great benefits if I really integrated that understanding into psychiatry itself. In summary, that's how we created what we created in our approach to both my wife and I, Rani, our boys. We decided that we'll create something which is not out there at the moment. That bring about a psycho-spiritual approach to understanding mental health.
Right. Oh, lovely, Suraj. Yeah. So over the last, many years, probably over the last 26 years, you apuni UK, Britain, England, practice kori ase. Have you seen a major difference or gaps in the way mental health and trauma are treated in the West versus our Assam hok ba our Indian context jodi soa jay?
Yeah. My Indian context to iman closely nazano, kintu from a distance what I can see, and also from hearing stories from other people, you get a vague sense of how things are practiced back home. And I can see that, so going back thousands of years ago, we had all the answers to solving most of our mental and spiritual distress that people find themselves in. Kintu, as those societies are getting more westernized in their thinking as well, in their approaches, you're seeing that, okay, we've lost all of those early understanding, our faith in some of those things that we used to have, and at the same, and which is sad, which is a shame, really. Kintu karon etia west is not Western medicine, or let me just say Western way of practicing mental health care isn't a kind of foolproof model of helping somebody with mental health issues. The more and more we have deeply looked into it, we found there are big gaps, big holes within that approach, and which we have kind of tried to fill with our own sort of limited or developing understanding. Ami jikhini koribo parisu ekhini teneke dekhiye ami And we've been blessed that we've come from a place like India, and we can really relate to some of those sort of early Amarjanpur ancient teachings, the scriptures. We can kind of relate to those. It's only now, yet ohar pasothe, we look back, and some of those things really make sense.
Right. Right.
From this unique perspective I have got as a psychiatrist, as a Western trained psychiatrist, West-trained psychiatrist in the Western model. So it is what it is. So etia mane guri sale lage, yeah, there's so many good things in the Far Eastern cultures that when if those can be incorporated and integrated into the Western way of practicing or understanding mental health care, then it'll be transformational for people. It'll be transformational for the discipline itself.
Right. One example share group pariboniki.
Yeah, I think yate mane tumi trauma kotha hudila to trauma mane trauma informed. Yeah, we talk about trauma informed. The buzzword here is trauma informed care. Jote is okay. We are a trauma informed service. We are a trauma informed practice, whatever it is. We still don't know what that exactly means, right? It means different things to different people. Yet, we even the teaching is, the Western teaching is that that you ought to take a biopsychosocial approach. That means you are not just going to be biologically minded when looking at somebody's mental health problems. Biologically meaning to me khali physical hoy na thakiba, je tumi medication e bhabi na thakiba mane etu kotha hoise aru je it's not just about the brain or the body. So you have to think psychological, you have to think social context and all of that. So biopsychosocial. That is what's in the books.
Yeah.
But in terms of what's really practices, what the practice is, that's driven by a lot of other extraneous factors like lack of resources and so on, or urgency, risk management. And what's happened over years and years in the West is there's been more of a reliance on the biological, the biomedical model of practicing psychiatry.
Yeah.
So there's a heavy reliance on that, and that's what India. That's what is being adopted more and more.
Right.
Again, India as a country, I mean, in terms of volume of cases, volume of because for example, many years ago, probably about 15, must have been probably 12 years ago or so, I went to a private practitioner a clinic in Guwahati. They're a psychiatrist. And I saw in the waiting room, there are probably 200 people waiting there. And I saw, oh my goodness, 200 people, and how... I mean, at a psychiatry for the first appointment, we spend about 1 hour with the patient, right? And for follow-ups, at least you need half an hour. I give them at least an hour, even for follow-ups, because I want to have a good conversation here, meeting them after so many months and so on. But I was saying there, people were hardly in there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes per consultation. Right. And then I asked the psychiatrist, how do you manage this? And they said, they said, I'm a biomedical and biological. I said, drop this. He said, drop this. He said, drop this. Belek kotha hodibole eku homoy nai mane. So I think that's what ends up dictating your practice, the pressure.
Right.
The pressure from demand, right?
Exactly.
Then you find, okay, you think, okay, this is the quickest way of addressing their problems. Is like, to drop to lock, bhal nohole ahibo, or নহ'লে আকৌ এমাহৰ পিছত মোলে come for a follow-up or whatever. But there was, there's so many other things going on. We know, from our perspective here. So I think that's a very worrying trend. And this was like 12 মই ক'লো তেতিয়াৰ পৰাই হৈ আছে আৰু এতিয়াতো আৰু হৈছে চাগে আৰু
Right. So
it's the same.
I mean, Assam has gone through a tremendous change. I mean, let's not go. Is it for good or is it for bad? Probably happy nezao, but it has affected mental health. It has affected people's mental health because of the acceleration or the momentum মানুহৰ যিটো first life start হৈছে.
Sure.
As a psychiatrist, how do you see that from an Assam context, from Assamer context to ফালৰ পৰা কাৰণ অসমৰ যিটো আমাৰ DNA আছিলে এইটো আমাৰ original DNA নহয়. How do you see that from a lens of a psychiatrist?
Yeah. What I would say is, there's আমি যেতিয়া সৰু আছিলোঁ ধৰা the technology was at a different stage back then. Now it seems like things are evolving so fast, exponentially. Things are changing every week now with the advent of AI and what have you. But people still had stress of some kind, right? There was stress from relationships. There was stress from not having enough resources, not having enough money, not having a job, or whatever it may be, or failing in a subject or something, as a school student, or getting bullied. So every generation will go through aspects of life that's not going to be agreeable to them, right? That's not going to align perfectly with their expectations. So there'll be things that will challenge you. There'll be things that will really test your limits. And if you are not adaptable, then you'll find it stressful. I mean, that's a principle. That's how life works, and it will continue to work that way. I can, vouch for that because I've seen it work that way. So I think we have to be clever. We have to be very astute. As people from any generation, really, young and old. I mean, you have to look around you and say, okay, am I going to, if I allow that to take over my life, and I accept that passively, then I lose my control and my ability to really influence the experience in this particular circumstance. So knowing that you have got a choice at any given time to influence your own experience, I think it's very powerful. So I think that's what I tell people when either in this country, in the West, or back home. When I hear any story or anybody shares about some stressful situation, it's not about, the situation is not going to change. The circumstance is not going to change. AI is not going to go away. Social media is not going to go away. If Instagram is stressing you, it's not going to go away. So you've got to find what's in your control in terms of, okay, your choices.
Right. মই হেতুক এই পাৰ্টটোকে মই let me reframe অকমান কোৱেশ্চনটো reframe কৰিব বিচাৰিছো because আমাৰ এই সিৰিজটোৰ যিটো অডিয়েন্স mostly young audience আমাক চাব এই এপিসোডটো there's a continuous pressure on the young people out there, right? আমাৰ অসমৰে হওক স্কুলত পঢ়ি আছে to perform in exams, to perform in sports, to perform, to excel in cultural, programs. Moving forward, college, career, then relationship, then probably finding the meaning of life. So it's a continuous high pressure zone এটা ক্ৰিয়েট হৈছে আমাৰ যিটো এটা social pressure এটা যিটো ক্ৰিয়েট হৈছে. Love to take your, love to understand আপোনাৰ take how one should actually look at life and amid the fact that uh, you know people have to perform, right? People have to have a good life. They have to have a good career. They need to excel in sports, cultural programs, or any of their skill sets. But among doing good for their life, how do they balance out such that এই যিটো আমাৰ এটা mental health plus যিটো এটা healthy life, এটা fulfilling life এটা জীয়াব পৰাকে?
That's $1 million question, isn't it? Yeah. No, that's at the heart of, if you are able to uncover that, then you've got the recipe for a blissful existence, right?
Yeah.
Or if you can live that yourself, and if you can design your life around that understanding. I would say, people have a misunderstanding of who they truly are. Amar sabore muru asile. It's only now I can kind of look back and say, oh, I led half of my life thinking I was somebody, but I know I was not that. My sense of so I'm obviously talking about identity. So knowing who you truly are, that's the starting place. Otherwise, what happens if you've misidentified yourself? That means you are not living your life. You are living somebody else's life. You are living societal expectations. You are living the expectations of your parents. You are living the expectation of your best friend. You're living the expectation of your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever it may be. So I think it's really, really important to start from the root. Moikun. Moikun or pasat mane, okay, why am I here? What is my purpose? Or what could be my purpose? If you are confused about that, then you are going to think that somebody else's journey is your journey, and you are going to blindly follow them. You're going to think, I have to run after that crowd because they are running after something. I have to do well in this. I have to score this much because this is what kids of my age they are doing. I have to run to medicine to want to be a doctor because that's what all my friends are doing. Or I want to be an engineer. That's what all my friends are doing. Completely wrong way of living life. So I would say, first really spend time being curious about those questions. Who am I? And it's not a difficult answer. The answer is all around us. But it needs most of us will need some help to help us uncover that for ourselves.
Oh yeah, thank you, Horizia. Thank you so much. On that note, মোৰ সুধিব লগা প্ৰশ্ন প্ৰায় শেষ হৈছে, but আমি প্ৰায় এঘণ্টা কথা পাতিলো. I would love to sum it up for our audience. আপোনাৰ লগত যিখিনি কথা পাতিলো প্ৰায় এঘণ্টা, আপোনাৰ জাৰ্নি যিখিনি আপুনি ডিব্ৰুগড়ৰ পৰা আদি গ্ৰেট ব্ৰিটেইনত আহি নিজকে ইমান ধুনীয়াকৈ এষ্টাব্লিছ কৰিব পাৰিছে, তাৰ বেকগ্ৰাউণ্ডত definitely, as you said, continuous learning is such vital and such key. Rediscovering yourself every time getting out of your comfort zone and rediscovering yourself is so critical for success. And definitely finding purpose for life, to lead a balanced life, in spite of, as we call it, leading for the stars. Go for the stars, go for the moon, but find a purpose, find a good, healthy, balanced life is so vital for a good harmonized life, as we call it. On that note, Khurozda, thank you so much for your time. খুব ভাল লাগিল আপোনাৰ লগত কথা পাতি। আপুনি আজি যিখিনি আপোনাৰ এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ, আপোনাৰ প্ৰফেচনেল এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ, আপোনাৰ লাইফৰ এক্সপিৰিয়েঞ্চ আমাৰ লগত শ্বেয়াৰ কৰিলে, আই হোপ আমাৰ অডিয়েঞ্চ, আমাৰ দৰ্শক যিসকলে আমাক চাই আছে, তেওঁলোক ডেফিনেটলি উপকৃত হ'ব, এণ্ড দে হেভ definitely they could find some value out of it.
Oh, thank you very much. খুব ভাল লাগিলে কথা পাতি। সময় কেনেকৈ গ'ল গমেই নাপালোঁ, আৰু এঘণ্টা কথা পাতিলোঁ। Yeah, hopefully the audience will find this helpful, especially the young generation. Or yeah, if they want to reach out to me, I'm really available for anyone.
Absolutely.
If I can be of any support, any guidance. Juntu, I wish I had when I was in Assam at that point. I'm really happy to do that. Yeah, keep on doing the good work, spread the message, and yeah, wish everyone well.
Lovely. Thank you, Khurozda. মই আমাৰ ইমেইল এড্ৰেছটো ইয়াতে দি দিম এই ভিডিঅ'টোৰ শেষৰ পিনে। যিসকল দৰ্শক অডিয়েঞ্চৰ কিবা প্ৰশ্ন থাকিলে আমালৈ লিখিব পাৰে, and I can pass it to you accordingly.
No problem. Really. Happy to answer that.
Thank you so much, Khurozda. Thank you so much for your time today.
No problem. Enjoy. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.